Well, Apple products are certainly cool, but how green are they? By some measures, a bit less than they used to be. We've got Joel Schectman joining us now to tell us all about it. Joel, thank you very much. You've been looking at the environmental situation with Apple. Tell us about this. There's a nuance here as to how they might be a little less green.
Well, whether or not they're less green still remains to be seen for now. But the important thing that happened, Apple pulled off the green certification from all of its products. 39 of its products, basically all of the MacBook Pros, all the MacBooks, all the desktops, they were all certified as being green products. But Apple, for some reason, made a decision to pull the certification off of all its products.
So they're not green certified, and that's the sense in which they're not as green as they used to be. Why are they doing that?
Well, I think that there's probably two things at play. You know, Apple, they're very well known for their design and for how closely and how compactly they can fit all the elements into the machines. Their newest MacBook Pro, the one that has this kind of very high resolution screen, it's
so-called Retina display, right?
Yeah, the Retina display. They have actually glued the battery into the casing. And the thing is, the problem with that is that when you want to recycle it, if you take it and you're taking it out to some recycling plant in Hackensack, they're not going to know how to, get that battery out of there. And so in that sense, that computer probably would not have been able to pass muster. And so that might have something to do with the direction that they're going in. And maybe they just decide, well, if we're going to be going in that direction, we might as well, pull out of the treaty altogether.
So before we get to how consumers might feel about that, let's talk about the impact that could have on Apple itself in terms of purchasing. Because there's some organizations that can't buy stuff unless it's green certified.
Yeah, and one of those organizations is the U.S. government, and I'm not really certain how much Apple supplies they buy, but 95% of what they buy has to be green certified to start with, and a lot of universities, a lot of city systems have pledged that they're only going to buy things that have this green certification. Apple historically has been a company that really was kind of an educational hardware maker,
and it's also Ford, HSBC. Kaiser Permanente. I mean, they are big organizations too, not all public or government related, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that part of this is also the direction that Apple's going in. I mean, it used to be a maker primarily of computers, but now, the main thing that they make are phones, iPads, and those products had, so far never been certifiable anyway. There's just not a category for them as of now. And so, they might just not be as concerned in a sense because it's just not as much the thrust of the direction that they're going in. I think that's also possible.
Just because they don't have the green certification doesn't mean they won't be recycled, does it? Because there are a lot of valuable precious metals inside a computer of any sort or a smartphone, and companies can extract them, can't they?
Yeah, they can. I think that, the certification sort of points to the ease at which people will be able to do that. Can you take this into a typical e-waste recycler and have them be able to separate out the parts? And batteries can be very toxic, very harmful, so you really want to be able to separate those out as part of a green standard.
And the circuit boards, though, can still be boiled down, and all the precious metals can be taken out of them. This is a very interesting story. Thank you very much for joining us, Joel Schectman. It's been far too long since you've been on the show.